Yo, today about to be reacting to every banned accessory in the NFL. Hold on, let me make sure I'm recording. Alright, bet. Yo, today about to be reacting to every banned accessory in the NFL. Hey, from what I'm looking at, honestly, it looked like a lot of BS, but let's see.
Cleats. Custom cleats have always been
Okay,
the
I guess.
NFL's favorite target because they blend individuality with visibility, and that combination never sits well with the league's strict image control. Players love showing personality through art, colors, and themes, but the NFL only cares about uniformity. That's why DeAndre Hopkins got blasted for wearing Yeezy-styled cleats, even though fans love them, and why
Them
every
hard.
season brings new finds for shoes that are just a little too creative. The irony is that sneaker culture exploded across every major sport, yet football stayed locked in the past. Some players say custom cleats help tell their story, but the NFL only sees them as a threat to sponsorship deals. That tension fuels
Mm,
constant drama, especially when stars push boundaries to keep
but sponsorship does. They acting like everybody wearing the same brand. That don't even make sense.
swag alive. And what comes next takes that tension to a whole new
Oh,
level because
okay, that makes sense. Okay, got you.
the next accessory became even more controversial: tinted visors. Tinted visors became one of the most infamous bans because they blended intimidation with mystery, and the league wanted neither.
My energy bill dropped
Come
from
on,
$150
bro.
to $50 by
They
doing
gon'
this.
hey, I'm gonna get
My
an ad
friends
block when
laughed
I
at me when I
get
spent 40
monetized.
In the 1990s,
They gon'
tinted colored visors took off fast, transforming defensive players into robotic, unreadable forces. But trainers hated being unable to check a player's eyes during concussion tests.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
Safety concern became the NFL's official justification,
Hmm.
yet many players still believe the rule is more about keeping everyone visually identical. Even today, you'll see stars wear tinted visors during warm-ups, only to switch to clear before kickoff. Some players try to gain medical exemptions for light sensitivity, and a few succeed, but the majority are denied. Fans
Honestly, bro, as a wide receiver or as a quarterback, I feel like it'll be necessary to have a tinted visor. Cause let's say the sun shining in your eye while you about to catch a ball or throw a ball, you can either miss the catch because the sun's shining so bright. It happened before. Everybody that play football, it happens. Or you can overthrow because the
ask
sun.
why college players can wear them freely while the NFL clamps down, which only fuels more frustration. But that's not all, because the crackdown on visors didn't stop at tint alone. Non-matching cleats. Non-matching cleats are where the NFL's enforcement gets downright theatrical, because even the slightest mismatch triggers a reaction. Odell Beckham Jr. learned this the hard way when he wore white Joker-themed cleats with a full brown uniform and thought nobody would care. For an entire half, the league said nothing. Then suddenly, officials stormed in and forced him to change mid-game or be removed from the field. Fans were stunned
Why
that
they so
mismatched
strict
colors
though?
carried the same urgency as an on-field penalty, but the league was determined to assert control. Players quietly admitted they felt singled out, especially when last-minute uniform changes made pre-approved cleats suddenly illegal. The randomness only made the rule feel more personal and unpredictable. And the strangest part is that cleats were only the beginning of the NFL's obsession with eliminating visual expression. Graphic visors. Graphic visors
I
exploded
ain't
in the
never
early
seen this.
2000s. Flames, flags, and designs that instantly stood out.
Hey, that's
But the
cold, bro.
NFL was
That's so tough. I ain't never seen that, bro. That shit tough.
no time shutting them down. Officials claimed these patterns interfered with visibility and created unsafe distraction, but players insisted the visors worked fine and simply gave them flair. The league wasn't interested in flair. They wanted everything clean and logo approved, and custom visor graphics didn't fit that vision.
Man, that
Within
shit
a few
tough, bro.
seasons, the ban was absolute, and any shield that wasn't clear or medically tinted became grounds for a fine. Fans still see graphic visors in college or
Like, cuz
warm-ups
you
and
see how
assume
tough
they're
that
allowed,
is?
only to learn that they're banned once the actual game starts. It was one of the fastest bans the NFL ever pushed through, and it sent a clear message that individuality would always take a back seat. And the next ban made that message even louder. Supreme arm sleeve. When Odell Beckham Jr. wore a red Supreme arm sleeve during
They on Odell eyes. This nigga is fashionably gifted, ain't he?
warm-ups, he probably knew it would go viral, but he also knew the league would respond instantly. Even though the sleeve matched team colors, the bright Supreme logo violated every rule about unapproved branding. The NFL treats sideline gear like a runaway for sponsors, and anything outside its
Make sure
approved
my
partners
green screen
becomes a
look good.
threat to multi-million-dollar deals. The moment images hit
good.
social media, officials contacted the Giants and made it clear that Odell could not wear the sleeve during the game or he'd be fined. Fans saw it as harmless style, but the NFL saw it as a breach in their branding armor. Players have tried covering logos or modifying sleeves, but spotters catch everything. And the league's obsession with eliminating non-partner brands didn't stop with sleeves, because their next ban went even further. Hard jewelry. Hard jewelry has always been banned on the field.
Oh
But
my God! Why would you want to wear a Richard Millie on the field?
further. Hard jewelry.
Oh my! Is that a Richard Millie? I don't know. And why do you need to tell the time? That look like a Richard Millie.
Jewelry has always been banned on the field. But Odell Beckham Jr. took the controversy to new heights
Damn!
when he
This nigga is getting. He the reason for why people can't fashionably express themselves. I'm not saying he the reason, but he can't do nothing without the league being on his back. Odell was literally a fashion icon.
a luxury watch during a game. The piece immediately captured national attention, and the league quickly reminded everyone that any hard object creates safety risks for both the wearer and opponents.
It do.
Chains can snap, rings can cut skin, and watches can shatter on contact. Players argued they had worn jewelry for years without issue, but the NFL insisted the risk wasn't worth it. The watch incident made headlines because it blended style with defiance.
Like, bro, they
had a
hating
crazy
at this
idea.
point.
We were
I ain't
surprised
gonna
that
lie.
no one had done it
I'm gonna
before.
get an ad block when I get monetized. They literally hating.
And
bro.
fans couldn't believe a player would wear something worth hundreds of thousands of dollars in a collision-heavy sport.
I wouldn't-
Yet
I
Odell
wouldn't
insisted others would have done the same if their watch was not that valuable. And just when the jewelry debate seemed like it
Excuse me.
couldn't escalate, the next controversy proved otherwise. Apple Watches. Ben Roethlisberger probably didn't expect to cause uproar when he wore an Apple Watch on the sideline while injured. But the NFL considered it a major violation.
How?
Technology that can send or receive messages is strictly forbidden because it opens the door to potential competitive advantages. The league worried about silent communication, unauthorized updates, or real-time strategy adjustments that could slip through unnoticed. Even though Roethlisberger wasn't in uniform and wasn't calling plays, the rules still applied. Players, coaches, and staff cannot carry any device capable of messaging during games. The fine surprised fans because it showed how tightly the NFL monitors even harmless-looking accessories. The league doesn't just want uniformity.
So
They
what? He got to wear a fucking Fitbit to track his calories and his steps.
absolute control over every tool available near
not
the
even
field.
on the field.
And if you think banning watches sounds extreme, the next accessory pushed the
What the
league into
hell?
even more dramatic territory.
I ain't gonna lie, I would ban this shit
It's
too.
extreme. The next
What if somebody's finger get caught up in there on accident, and then now they broke their finger?
accessory pushed the league into even more dramatic territory. Overbuilt face masks. Overbuilt face masks became iconic
Nigga, go play hockey, cause that shit look ass.
in the early 2010s, when players like Justin Tuck and Chris Canty started wearing intimidating cage-like designs that practically turned helmets into armor. Fans loved the look, and players said the added bars protected them from hits to the face. But equipment experts warned these masks were too heavy and could strain neck muscles. The NFL eventually banned all non-standard face masks, calling them unsafe and structurally unreliable.
He look like a
Some
rugby
players
player
were
or something.
furious, insisting the mask helped them feel protected in the trenches. But the league wasn't backing down. Only players with medical exemptions could keep
Like, dog, what? That just looks stupid. That's crazy.
using them. And even those were phased out over time. The rule became a turning point in the NFL's ongoing push for both safety and visual uniformity. But you won't believe how far the league went in the next category. Banned helmets. Helmet bans brought the NFL's strictness to a whole new level
Man,
because they
helmets.
targeted equipment players had worn their entire careers. In 2018, the league introduced a list of helmets that failed updated safety tests, and dozens of players were forced to switch. Even legends like Tom Brady resisted the change, arguing the new models restricted vision and didn't feel right. But the NFL insisted the data was clear. Any helmet older than 10 years also became automatically illegal, which wiped out many players' favorites overnight. Teams scrambled to adjust, An equipment
Oh,
manager spent weeks
that
refining
helmet to
players'
helmet
favorite
collision is overly
overnight.
crazy.
Teams scrambled
That
to
boy got
adjust.
CTE, don't he? Ooh.
An equipment manager spent weeks refitting helmets to meet the new guidelines. This sudden shift created frustration across the league. But first, only cool people are subscribed to this channel, so hit that subscribe button before we go any further. Custom helmet shells. Custom helmet shells were the next casualty of the NFL's image crackdown, because they crossed the league's strict line between individuality and branding control. For
just doing
years,
stuff,
players
bro.
experimented with glossy chrome finishes,
That's tough.
alternate shell colors,
That's tough, cause they should make a uniform that has that exact helmet. That's
or
tough.
subtle artistic touches that made their helmet stand out. The NFL shut all of it down instantly. Team helmets must follow approved colors, decals, and finishes, and no player is allowed to deviate from that formula. Even throwback uniforms were restricted for years because teams were only allowed to use a single shell color all season. Any attempt at personalization was treated like a threat to safety
it's
certification and a challenge to uniformity. Players argued that custom shells didn't affect performance, yet the league refused to budge. Helmet individuality vanished entirely, and that strictness set the tone for how the NFL handled every accessory going forward. But that's not all, because the next ban got even more heated: oversized casts. Oversized cast clubs were once a badge of toughness, turning injured defenders into one-armed wrecking balls who could still disrupt plays.
Yo, that's a fucking weapon, bro. That literally needs to be banned. Y'all ever felt I had a cast when I broke probably all my fingers on this hand. Not all at one time, but different times. So I had many casts on my right hand. You know how hard a cast is? This nigga walking around with a weapon on. Man, hell no. That definitely need to be
Raw
banned.
impact. Throughout the 1990s and early 2000s,
Look at that.
players wrapped broken hands in layers of hard padding, creating massive clubs that look like blunt weapons. Fans
You know how
loved
easy to be to poke a ball with that big ass club on your hand?
the spectacle, but the NFL eventually cracked down, arguing the size and hardness posed danger to opponents. Casts now must be fully padded, soft, and sized only to protect the injury instead of creating a competitive advantage. Some players felt targeted, especially those who relied on the club to still contribute on the field. But the league didn't care about aesthetics or sentiment. Safety and uniformity took priority, and the era of oversized clubs vanished. And once you see the next rule the NFL pushed, it becomes clear the crackdown wasn't slowing down. Eye black messages. Eye black messages became one of the most surprising bans because they started as harmless tributes. Players used them to honor relatives, share motivational words, or show support for meaningful causes. But as messages grew more personal, the NFL worried about controversial or political phrases appearing on national broadcasts. In 2010, they banned all writing on eye black, requiring it to remain plain. Players like D'Angelo Williams, who honored his family's battle with cancer, were stunned when they received fines for messages that fans viewed as positive and respectful. The league argued it needed a clean, uniform look across every face on screen.
Open effing always. Hey, he mad at his quarterback, bro. You gotta take that shit up with his quarterback, bro.
Many players felt it was an attack on expression, and fans couldn't believe something so small could cause fines. The ban
Working
man,
across
I'm gonna get a,
teams
ad
is
block
tough,
when I get mine
but
inside. Don't worry
Asana
about
helps
it.
you handle it.
How's that
Asana
going?
AI can
Mine
spot
going
roadblocks
swell.
and
The
assign
first video that
work
I
to keep
recorded,
everything
the
on
audio
track.
was bad, but it's
That's
cool
how
though.
work gets handled.
I'm
Visit
still
us at
posting because you can still hear them,
asana.com.
kind of, but it was a very
and
educational
stop.
video.
And it set the stage for an even more controversial accessory battle that was about to unfold. Message headbands. Message headbands became a lightning rod when Saints linebacker Demario Davis wore one that said "Man of God" underneath his helmet. Even though it matched team colors and wasn't visible during
That boy
gameplay,
fitted.
the NFL fined him because personal messages of any kind violated the uniform code. The fine shocked fans because it seemed excessive and targeted, especially when the message wasn't offensive. Davis later admitted he didn't even know the rule existed, which made the situation feel even more unfair. After public backlash, he pledged to donate money to charity and turn the incident into something positive. The league refused to change the rule. No messages, no slogans, and no personal statements are allowed on any visible or invisible
Bro,
accessory.
the NFL is so strict, bro.
Rigid stance made players realize even the smallest item could lead to an unexpected fine. And up next is one of the strictest bans the league still enforces: Unapproved logos. Unapproved logos have been the NFL's longest running obsession because sponsorship deals drive so much of the league's business. Any logo not tied to the NFL's official partners is considered an immediate violation. This includes wrist tape designs, undershirt branding, non-partner gloves, and any visible marking the league didn't authorize. Players with personal endorsement deals have tried sneaking logos onto their gear, only to be quickly hit with fines when spotters caught them. The NFL keeps its broadcast tightly controlled, and even a small logo can disrupt the money behind those partnerships. Odell Beckham Jr.'s fashion choices often turned into instant controversies because his accessories were scrutinized down to the millimeter. The
Literally,
crackdown
bro.
created a tense
If I was him, I feel targeted, bro. I'm suing y'all, cause ain't no way y'all got a problem with everything I do. Y'all making new rules. Oh shit, y'all making new rules cause y'all don't like the way I dress. Yeah, nah, bro. Y'all getting sued, bro.
atmosphere where even harmless items became risky. And if players thought socks would be safe in the NFL's reach, they were very wrong.
Oh my
Custom
goodness.
socks. Custom socks might sound harmless, but in the NFL, they represent another layer of strict uniform control. The league insists socks must cover the leg from shoe to pant with no visible gaps, no bare skin, and no personal designs.
What?
Marshawn Lynch was fined repeatedly for wearing mismatched or non-team colors, even when the socks were part of his signature look. Some players tried rolling their socks low to create a unique style, but the league quickly warned them or issued fines.
What?
Officials claim the rule ensures consistency, but players see it as nitpicking that strips personality from the uniform. Fans
do
rarely
nothing in
notice
the
sock
NFL.
violations, which makes the fines feel even more excessive. Yet the NFL treats this rule as seriously as any equipment standard. And while socks might be strict, the next accessory takes uniform enforcement to a whole different level: untucked jerseys. Untucked jerseys became a surprising point of emphasis when the NFL cracked down in 2006,
Yeah, I guess. They
insisting
like that in
players
NBA.
keep the uniforms neat at all times. Receivers and defensive backs often preferred the untucked look because it added a street-style flair and gave them more comfort. But the league saw it as sloppy presentation. Officials could send players to the sideline mid-game to tuck in their jerseys, and repeat offenders were fined later in the week. Players argued that gameplay naturally pulled jerseys loose, but the NFL insisted on constant compliance. The rule became symbolic of the league's desire to control even the smallest visual element on the field. It also reminded players that nothing was too minor to escape enforcement. And if untucked jerseys seemed strict, the next rule affected almost every position on every play. Missing pads. Missing pads became one of the NFL's most heavily enforced rules starting in 2013.
Missing pads.
When the league mandated knee pads and thigh pads for all players. For years, wide receivers and defensive backs played without them to feel faster and lighter. But the
They gonna get their ass popped, be injured, tear ACL.
NFL argued that lower body injuries were becoming too common.
Yeah.
The new rule required uniform inspections, and players not wearing the right pads could be pulled from the
Alright,
game
that's-
until they
that's a good
comply.
rule.
Many athletes complained the pads restricted movement or disrupted their sleek aesthetic, but the league didn't budge. Safety became the official priority, even as players insisted fashion and comfort mattered too. The crackdown changed the look of the sport almost overnight. And even though the rules settled in over time, the final banned accessory represented one of the most dramatic shifts in NFL swagger: bandanas. Bandanas once defined sideline
Why would you ban a bandana though? Y'all gonna say they're gang banging or some shit? Let's see.
swagger thanks to players like Deion Sanders, who turned them into cultural staples during the 1990s. Fans loved this style, and players embraced the look as part of their identity. But in 2001, the NFL voted overwhelmingly to ban bandanas and all 9-team issued headgear,
Why?
calling it a uniformity issue.
How?
The decision felt like the league was targeting individuality rather than safety. Players were told to wear only team-colored skull caps with league logos, removing any chance for personal flair. The rules remained in place for
These
decades,
niggas
with
is
almost
robots. I ain't know the NFL came with so many rules.
no exceptions. And the bandana style that once defined an era disappeared completely. It was one of the clearest examples of the NFL choosing total presentation control over player expression. If you like this video,
Hey man, I don't even know what to say, bro. The NFL come with so much. I didn't know it was so many rules, especially new ones made because he looks too good in that. He rocked that too good. We don't like that brand. No, they're not sponsoring us, so we're not. That's messed up. But no, let me know what y'all think down in the comments below, and I'm gonna catch you niggas in the next one.